I was not sure what I like, but I was sure that I did what I don't like. And I think I did not really like working in the finance industry after I tried several interns and being like explored a little bit. And throughout my undergrad, I feel like I have some particular interest in studying math related course. So I feel like a statistics is kind of a sweet point between the like combination of math and the finance. So I think maybe I should try to go to graduate school.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Next Step. I'm Jeff Kozlowski, your host. I'm excited to bring you today's guest. Her name is Qiuyi Wu. She is currently a postdoc research fellow in the Department of Biostatistics and Bioinformatics at Duke University. She received her PhD from the Department of Biostatistics and Computational Biology here at UofR SMD under the supervision of Professor Xing Qiu in 2024. Her research interests include functional data analysis, image processing, and high-dimensional data analysis. Really enjoyed the conversation with Qiuyi today. We talk about her journey to Rochester. She has an interesting story of going back and forth, Rochester for master's, down to North Carolina for a research job, back to U of R for PhD, back to North Carolina now for her postdocs. So it's kind of a funny story there. She talks about how internships played a part in her deciding her career path. She also recently had the opportunity to visit a 7th grade classroom to talk about her work through the North Carolina Science Festival. So she talks about that experience and what she learned from it. We kind of reminisce a little bit on defending her thesis here at U of R and what that moment meant to her and how she eventually landed on the current postdoc opportunity she has now. She's also great at communicating her work and promoting herself on social media with her website. So we talk a little bit about that. And of course, she shares her best advice for current graduate students about to hit the job market. So here she is, Qiuyi. Qiuyi, thank you so much for joining the podcast. How are you?
Good. Thanks, Jeff, for the invitation. It's exciting.
Absolutely. We're happy to have you joining us from North Carolina. Can you just first give us a brief intro about just kind of who you are? And I know you're a postdoc right now at Duke University, so give us a sense of who you are and what you're working on these days.
Thanks. My name is Qiuyi. Qiuyi Wu. I'm from China. My city is called Suzhou. It's kind of a southeast city close to Shanghai, which is kind of like New York City in China. I'm currently a postdoc in Biostats department in Duke University, and I just graduated last year, August, I think. August, and I joined this department in the end of September. And it has been like half year, and everything moves so fast, and I have quite enjoyed this whole work and new collaborations in Duke University.
You mentioned graduating. You're right. We're coming up on, as we record this, it's early May, so commencement is right around the corner. I know several folks who are getting ready to defend their thesis in the next few weeks. And in prep for this, I was looking at your LinkedIn page and stumbled upon your post from last year when you defended.
Right.
Can you just talk a minute, like what did it feel like to finally defend and celebrate that accomplishment?
It was amazing. I think actually, in my case, the graduation ceremony happened in May and I defended in August. So my department is nice enough to let me work first, then defend, because they think coming back and forth is a little bit hassle and it's only like 3 months kind of difference. So when I work, my parents come and my advisor hooded me. It feels a little bit unreal because technically I haven't graduated yet. And then eventually in August, I kind of defended it. I feel like suddenly I grew up just from a kid to an adult, a real adult. And I do have a few kind of like feeling of relief, and also I feel more mature, and the way I think about things, I would kind of like, from a real scholar, that kind of perspective. And also in our department, there's a tradition. We have this reception. You need to give a speech after this defense. And then we share the cake and like celebrating it. So I think I would have prepared the speech before, but I think at that time I was too kind of focused on prepare my defense because the reception is like right after, like several hours after. So I didn't really prepare the speech. But after I finished this defense, all those thoughts and stuff, I feel like I don't really need to prepare speech. I just have the things spontaneously speak out. It just naturally, like all your feelings and all you've experienced, all the like gratefulness you want to thank to the people around you, and all the like all your past journeys, it just all comes out. It's very natural. So it's kind of like a very amazing, unique experience, and I would forever remember that.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. So many people that I'm sure that meant a lot to you along the way. I will say on the commencement front too, and I don't know if you've seen Qiuyi, that you are kind of like the face of some of the commencement photos. Like you're like front and center on some of those university-wide ceremony pages, cheering on the camera. Have you seen those pictures?
Yes, I feel so lucky. I accidentally sit in the front row, and the camera accidentally captured me, and I saw myself in the front, like the university's web page. I feel, wow, I'm so lucky.
Yep, you were right there. So you are front and center on all of the promotions this year. Probably brings back fun memories. So now let's talk about how you discovered Rochester, because I know I know you went to RIT for your master's, and then you went to North Carolina to work for an organization, and then came back to UofR. Was your time at RIT, was that the first time you came over to the United States for education?
Actually, not. I was in a kind of like exchange program when I was undergrad. I went to Columbia University for a kind of short, like 2 months of exchange. Just take like, I think I took two courses, like a security analysis and some commercial communications classes. It's like in the business school, because back to the days when I was undergrad, I was from the business school and I studied finance and economics. So that means I was not the first time coming to the United States, but Rochester, that was the first time coming, and it's gave me quite totally different vibes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how did I know you did RIT for your master's. How did that get on your radar?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. I feel like I have sort of a very unusual path throughout the journey, since I said I'm from the business school. So upon the moment I need to decide if I want to just directly go to work or I should go to graduate school, I do not really have very clear thoughts. I think that time I only know, I was not sure what I like, but I was sure that I did what I don't like. And I think I did not really like working in the finance industry after I tried several interns and, being like explored a little bit. And throughout my undergrad, I feel like I have some particular interest in studying math related course. So I feel like a statistics is kind of a sweet point between the like combination of math and the finance. So I think maybe I should try to go to graduate school in this field. And I only made that decision in the last minute. I applied for IIT like after April 15th, which most of the graduate school already kind of like the deadline of you decide if you want to go to school, etc. And IIT, I believe that time they were opening their market in China. So I saw some like ads around, and then, okay, although I never heard of school, but they give scholarship. So they give me merit scholarship. So it's not really too expensive to get a master degree. So it's kind of a good deal for me. So I think that maybe I should try that, and maybe I would find something new. That's how I come And it turns out to be one of the best decisions I've made. I met a lot of wonderful people there, and also shaped my career to where I am now. Especially like my advisor, Dr. Ernest Folkway. He is my advisor in IT, and he kind of inspired me a lot. And yeah.
That's amazing. And so then you went to North Carolina to work for the Statistical and Mathematical Applied Sciences Institute. Stayed there for about a year, and then so when did it start to come into play? Like, oh, maybe I want to get a PhD now. When did that start kind of happening for you, and then ultimately made your decision to come back to Rochester here at U of R?
Yeah, that's actually really fun. So after I get an offer from IT, I start to explore like more deeply about what this statistics means to me, what my career option is. So it took like around like 3 or 4 months for me to decide, okay, I think maybe graduate school is not even the final point of my academia life. Maybe after that, I want to go for a PhD. And in that summer, I took like a online machine learning course from Coursera. You know, Coursera at that time, it was just began. It was
Yes.
so immediate, become so popular, and everyone studied those like AI machine learning stuff. So I took those and I felt like, okay, it's quite interesting. So I want to have a more research focused life, maybe in my future career. So the moment when I arrived at IIT, they already assigned me this advisor, Dr. Ernest Folkway. And we had a first meeting, and he asked me what I want to do in the future. I told him, like, I think I want to go for a PhD. So he was quite shocked that, before even start my master, I
You're ready to do more.
right. Yeah, that's how it begins. So the whole master training, we actually have this goal. Okay, maybe I need to go to PhD. So we need to actually do some research, start to do some research besides taking the course. And yeah. And also
Got
going to
it.
the institute, the SAMC Institute also helped me because that institute is very research focused. That you can collaborate with a lot of very kind of outstanding scholars in this field.
Got it. So you got the research experience and then started your PhD program. Can you talk about, so your advisor here at U of R, Xing Qiu, can you talk about your relationship and working with him and just kind of, anything you might have learned from him along the way?
Yeah, he is a great guy. I mean, when I chose the advisor, so amazing part of our department, like biostats department in University of Rochester, is you don't really need to quickly choose it on your first year. You can decide later on your second or third year. And in your early years, we have this kind of, you can choose a reading course to do with specific professor you're interested in. Maybe future to be your advisor, or you can have those kind of seminar, like when you read paper with advisors. So Xing come to taught us in our first semester about probabilities, and his course is always very fun. You know, probability is very theoretical course. It can be a little bit dull sometimes because it's too abstract, all the theory and the proof and stuff. But he would always make very abstract concept into a very vivid story, like visualize it to make sure you actually understand the general big picture behind it instead of just the those kind of theorems. So I feel like wow, the course taking with him is kind of not as stressful as I expected to be, and he is quite kind of a very easygoing person. You know, when choose an academic advisor, collaborating like a work is one part, but also personality, compatibility is another part. I think after the first semester of learning this course with him, I decided to take the independent study with him on specific research topic to see if it can potentially be my like kind of advisor. Then I decided to choose him as an advisor in my second year because the research we were doing is a continuation of our reading course in the first year.
Okay. And I know from our first discussion, when we were sort of preparing for this, you talked about you thought maybe you would want to stay in academia, but and then you had some internship experience, and then thought, maybe industry, maybe I could go industry. Can you talk about how, your internship experience and sort of the importance that internships had on your career path?
Yeah, yeah. Before I start my PhD, I went to Argonne National Laboratory. So that was like after SMC and started. It's like a 2019 summer. I went to Argonne National Laboratory to do research.
Uh-huh.
Because that time I was thinking, okay, I was not sure in the future I want to go to industry or stay in academia, be a professor. And Argonne is sort of the between situation. It actually, you can do research. It's research focused, but you don't need to teach. You actually, you can give some lectures in Argonne. It's very close to University of Chicago. You can give some lectures there, but some people there are having the joint appointments, but mainly you focus on research. So I think that was my first try of like doing an internship. And the project I work there in that summer is about like a wind modeling. So we developed a model to kind of characterize the wind speed and wind direction simultaneously, and to make make the whole framework more kind of predictable and more robust. So that work continues even in 2020 summer. So both of the summer I work in Argonne.
And then you also had an internship at Liberty Mutual, right?
Yes, that was like 2021 summer.
A couple years later.
Yeah, after 2 summers in Argonne, I was like, okay, I have very general idea of what life would be like as a researcher in
Yep.
national lab. Now I want to try something in industry. So I applied for several companies, and the Liberty Mutual turns out to be one fit me the best. So I went there. I spent a summer in Boston. It's the headquarters of Liberty Mutual, and I was super lucky because my advisor, Dr. Bobby Yuan, I mean, my manager in Liberty is super supportive and very nice guy. I learned that he and I have some common friends as well, because he got his PhD in University of Michigan, which I have some friends there too. And the project we did is we build a language model to predict the profitability of some construction work. When government want to build a bridge, they find some companies do this construction work, but they also want an insurance company to kick in to avoid some potential, if the job failed, there will be huge finance loss. So the Liberty come in as kind of to ensure this, to try to minimize this financial risk. So usually the previous models, usually they use those numerical data and stuff like that. But in this kind of specific project, they sign a lot of contract. They want to use those text information, which is the unstructured data. So we use the language model to make the whole prediction robust and more accurate.
Grad school is challenging enough. Let MyHub give you a hand in planning your career and professional development. Need CV help? Grant writing tips? LinkedIn upgrade? We've got you covered. From one-on-one career coaching and writing support to wellness resources, mentorship, and fostering your professional network, MyHub is your partner every step of the way. Not sure who can help? That's what we're here for. We'll connect you with the right people and tools to move forward with confidence. You don't have to do this alone. Visit myhub.urmc.edu to learn more. I love that, it seems like you kind of always had the thought process, like if I'm curious about academia or curious about a research career, I'm going to go try it out for a little while. Or like, oh, now I'm not sure if maybe I want to do industry. Let me go try it out. It seemed like, you were never shy about like giving it a try, and if it worked, great, and if not, I'll try something else.
Yeah.
What then ultimately, after your PhD studies here, how did you discover the postdoc opportunity you're in now at Duke?
Yeah, so in 2024, which is when I'm about to graduate, um, I I still, although I tried a lot, I feel like I would like to go to both industry and academia. I don't really have a strong preference for one side or another. As long as the work is research focused, because in industry, you can also do like a research scientist, that kind of positions. And in university, it's mainly like research focused, including some teaching. So I tried to apply for both, and also I think the Duke come out to be the best offer I've got, and the people here actually they fly me out to kind of have like kind of a in-person communication after they give me offers. So they want to make sure I really like the environment and that I like to work with the people here. And it turns out to be a great journey, and I chose here.
As many times as you've been back and forth from North Carolina to Rochester, you're probably just very familiar with those flights or all of that. Like I wonder how many times have you gone back and forth from Rochester to North Carolina?
It was amazing, but I figured out there's a two flight company that just started have like a direct flight from these two small airport,
Oh, that's
like
great.
Raleigh and Rochester.
That's
It's like
perfect.
direct flight and it's super cheap. It's only like less than $100.
That's amazing. That works out perfectly for you. So if you want to come back here after Duke, you're it's all set.
Actually, I do. I will come next week because some of my friends is having graduation, so I will come to support their graduation.
Oh, great.
And also my friend is having a wedding, so I also come for that
Oh,
weekend. So.
that's amazing. Oh, I'm sure Rochester will be happy to have you back. And commencement is also next week. So if you want to get any more pictures, Qiuyi, we'll make sure you're sitting in the front row again. You can put on a cap and gown just like old times.
Right. Actually, I also want to point out another reason I chose what I am doing now. I want to point out as an international students in the United States, we have a very tricky timeline when approaching the graduation. As a matter of fact, most of my friends, like international friends, they are not able to actually, when they enter the same year as me, they wouldn't be able to actually like work in the graduation commencement last year because not because they are slow in the research, they probably the same progress as me, but the timing of you graduate and you need to have an offer landed right before like you graduate is kind of very tricky, and there's not many employers willing to kind of, you know, after we graduate, we need to apply for OPT like and the employment authorization card, which in that case takes me 3 months. So after I got a job offer, I need to have this 3 months window there before I actually start to work. And a lot of companies they would want someone immediate to work or within like 1 or 2 weeks. That can be very tricky if you're not applying for something, they are willing to wait for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also a lot of companies they do not sponsor. This also costs a lot of money too. So it's a very tricky situation. And if you're lucky, you find a place right before you graduate, then you can graduate.
I
That
was
kind
going
of
to say, because then it's not like you can solve that issue by starting early, right? Because then it doesn't work to your benefit, like you said, with some places that don't want to hire you too soon or can't wait
Yeah,
three
they
months
cannot
or
wait for the whole process of you get the employment authorization card. And also with all the pressure when you actually focus on writing your thesis and give the defense and your family is flying out from another side of the world to come for your graduation ceremony. It's huge amount of pressure actually.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
I can't imagine. And on top of that too, I'm glad you brought up just the fact of being an international student. I noticed, during your time at U of R, you did guest lectures. You also, I know you went to different conferences and did lots of presentations. It seems like, science communication was a big deal for you, presenting your work. Can you speak on that a bit, and just like as an international student, did that just kind of only help you in being able to communicate better, and what was that sort of your thought process?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good question. I feel like I didn't even realize I was that into this kind of science communication until you bring it up.
Oh,
For me, like it's kind of a natural, like to present my work. It's one way to show what I'm working on, and it's one way to for me to get the feedback about what I'm doing. Like when you work, you may have like your perspective about thinking these problems, but when you present the stuff, you get a lot of perspectives from all different angles you never think of. So that's a very great way when you go to those conference and events and introduce yourself, social with people. Not even like a research or work focus. You can just do like a random daily chat on random specific like news or events happening around us. Then you get all sorts of different ideas. That's amazing.
yeah. And speaking of presentations, I know you were recently able to visit a seventh grade classroom
Yeah.
through the North Carolina Science Festival, and I know you shared a lot of takeaways, on Instagram from that. Can you talk first? I mean, it was super cool that you were invited to the North Carolina Executive Mansion, and then you got the opportunity to talk to middle schoolers about your research. What did that teach you about, communicating your work, if anything?
That's amazing experience. I even feel like I learned more from this experience than I actually taught to those kids.
That's great.
Yeah, first of all, I feel it's an amazing opportunity. I really like I feel like I would like to promote it, to suggest all other states do the same thing, this kind of science promotion thing. And they usually they start, this event has been going on for, I think, decades.
Mm.
And they would match a person like they call a scientist. Usually the people who has a PhD degree with a middle school teacher in the North Carolina. And after we got matched, then you have the opportunity to visit their class and give sort of a lecture, a class to their students about what you are doing and sort of like promoting your job and sort of to give them an idea about their career choice, etc. So that's like for me, the motivation to do this work is first, I was still thinking if I want to be a professor or not in the future, which is very near future. Probably I'm gonna start my job seeking this coming fall or maybe next
Okay.
year, early next year. So I was thinking, okay, I did not really have a lot of teaching experience, although I've been like a guest lecturer when I was PhD student and master students. But it's quite different when you just give one lecture or you give several classes to, and I want to seek some opportunities like that. And the communication with kids who actually do not know any of this job requires a lot of kind of how do you say, requires you not only familiar with your work, but also kind of translate your work into a more normal language that general audience can understand. Like, so I feel like this is sort of a challenge I want to take.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also I feel like if, when I was seventh grade, I would like to have some scientists visit my school and give me that kind of picture what their life look like, then I can make better decision, maybe kind of avoid some detours I've already took. So I think this is like a win-win situation in that way.
So how did you explain your work to that seventh grade class?
Yeah, I figured out they probably do not really know the concept of statistics. So
Yeah.
give the very easy concept of what it is, and also give very simple, like everyone actually use statistics unconsciously or conscious in their daily life. They say, okay, I sleep for 8 hours today. It's actually statistic. They have these numbers. I usually drive in like 50 miles per hour. It's also statistic. All this kind of language. I've stared at my phone for 4 hours already watching those videos. It's all those kind of statistics behind it. We use it unconsciously. And also in stats, we have a very interesting kind of concept called for example, we have Bayesian statistics, which you give the probability actually based on your belief, and then you keep updating the probability after you get more and more information. So these are kind of a very kind of advanced statistical concept, but you can actually explain it in this kind of very nice, kind of simple way. And then we have another concept called Simpson paradox. Like the example would be actually based on the real data, we found out that the Wisconsin and the Texas education, like they have those students exam scores. The Wisconsin is always higher than the Texas, the students like average test scores. So they were thinking if the Wisconsin's education policy is better than Texas. But when they look at the data more specifically based on the profile, like a racial profile from each, like black students, white students, Hispanic students, each of these specific group, actually Texas students, no matter what kind of race they are, they have like higher average score than the Wisconsin. So it's kind of like counterintuitive. And this is one concept called the Simpson paradox.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I give them those kind of very
Yes.
interesting way to think about like statistics everywhere, you know. Then I also explained like how I chose this career and also my current research work, and it's kind of a very interesting course.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that all went well with that experience. I'm sure you learned a lot. Uh, and speaking of, I know I mentioned I saw your kind of follow up to the seventh grade presentation on Instagram. I've noticed you do a lot in the way of promoting yourself on whether it's LinkedIn or Instagram. And when I first started getting ready to reach out to you for this podcast, I noticed your website and how nice it was, or just how informative and up to date it was. And so clearly it was, it's important to you. And just why, it's clear like it's something that you think about and sort of try to stay on top of. So why is that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's one of my habits that I like to record what happened in my daily life because I think my memory capacity is very limited these days. And I don't recall like what happened, my thoughts like happened in this kind of visit to this middle school. I probably would forget. There are a lot of great thoughts after it's kind of very eye-opening experience. It's like when you record when like in the old time before the phone even started, people write diary because they want to record what happened in their life. It's kind of similar as this diary concept that I would want to record this. And on the other hand, building my own website is one way to showcase what I'm capable of, what I've already achieved, and to a certain point, to a certain degree, it actually attracts some more opportunity for me. Like I keep having those emails or people reaching out to me say, actually, I saw you from some event, some conference, or I encounter like I check your website. It's so cool, and I have this kind of collaboration opportunity, or I have this internship opportunity. Do you want to join? I have this kind of yeah. I wouldn't really have this sort of options if I do not really showcase myself. It's just
Yes.
increase of probability that I'm getting hired in the future, maybe.
It's always thinking in probability, right? I know, we do some talks from a communications team perspective. We'll talk to different trainee groups and classes even, and we've got faculty that will also are always sort of advocating for like trainees to promote their work and promote themselves on a place like LinkedIn or somewhere, because that's how people are discovering you these days, especially when it comes to, your career or finding a job. Everybody's going to be, once you apply, probably going to the internet to take a look at your work, or,
Right.
just kind of do a little search for you there. So just curious, what do you use to create your website? What tools are you using?
I use, I think it's called Hugo, Hugo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's connect with your GitHub.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah, they have a very comprehensive template you can
Yeah.
use, and you just need to modify them into your own stuff.
Great.
Yeah, I also have this citation map on my
I saw
website.
that.
That one I use a package someone created that it's run in Python, I think. Then after that, they make this beautiful visualization, and I put that picture into that.
So that's where everywhere in the world that your work has been cited?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. If anybody, listens to this and is curious, maybe they can reach out to you, Qiuyi, and figure out how to get that on there, because that does stand out. I love that.
Thank you.
It's very colorful and pretty. And so, yeah, I think, I don't have much else. This has been great. I guess if there is any one piece of advice or anything you would pass along to our trainees as far as the graduate school experience or the job search, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Um, I think I think my takeaway would be like, don't give up, just grasp every opportunity you want, and you might eventually, if you keep trying, you might eventually get what you want. I think I've encountered a lot of cases, a lot of people, they are very brilliant. They have a lot of capacity to do great jobs. Sometimes there's some obstacles in front, not because, your own, because of your own reason, but there's just a general environment. Maybe it's not the best time. It's just some certain situations. It's not optimized. Then, it takes longer than we originally expected to get to where we want. But as long as you still have the hope and you keep trying, I believe eventually you will get there. And I'm a very optimistic person. I truly believe that.
We need the optimism these days, right, Chewy? Thank you so much for being a part of the Next Step podcast. This was great.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the latest episode of the Next Step podcast. If you liked what you heard, please share with other members of the University of Rochester community or anyone you think could benefit from these career stories. And we wish you nothing but the best in your own career journey. Until next time.